Hello, everyone. It's WMR Wednesday. It's May the 13th of 2026. I am Nick. This is Quinn. And we have a lot of chapters to talk about today. A lot of chapters.
We do. Nick, we're in interesting times, as the kids say, specifically.
That's not what the kids say specifically, but go ahead.
I was heading from the grocery store after work today, and I passed by a van in the parking lot that had a lot of writing all over it, particularly along all like the windows. And I want to make it very clear, this was not like a decal job to like have writing over the windows. This is like someone wrote on the inside of their windows or whatever. Maybe it's the outside. I don't know how the process works. But just has written across all these doors about how this is a mobile AI support desk. This is a place where you can go to get help with your AI. I don't know what kind of AI, just all of it. You can go there. They have all the details. There's small messages in some of the screen. It's like AI is everywhere. You should make sure you know how to use it. Like all these sorts of messages in it. And, you know, I would immediately like kind of dismiss it as like, well, this is just some like weirdo. Like I don't,
Right.
even if I'm, you know, on the side of AI, I still don't think handwriting, this is a mobile support.
Van,
yeah. Like this isn't a way to particularly attract a clientele is a good idea. But as I'm passing by the back of it, I see he has more little writings on the back of the van as well, of course. But then curiously, because again, this is a workplace. I'm understanding this. This is a mobile support desk in the back window next to the AI messages is still, of course, a sticker decal that says Pussy Wagon on it. So this person's really was bringing it home as to what the two most important things in their life were: pussy and AI, I believe. So
Maybe they just really like Kill Bill.
That's
all.
They maybe. Yeah, let's stop there and say maybe they like Kill Bill.
Yeah, they just really want to use AI to remake all of Quentin Tarantino's movies, because he says that he's only going to make like one more. So, if you really want more Quentin Tarantino movies, obviously you got to just master AI so that you have all the capacity to put all those feet in it. And scenes of Quentin Tarantino using the N-word. Gotta get as many of those as possible.
Gotta get those
crucial.
in there.
It's crucial for the cinematic quality of the work.
It honestly doesn't work unless he says the N-word.
Absolutely.
At least 7 more times than he should.
Pulp Fiction is nothing without that scene of him just saying the N-word a whole bunch of times. That bit where he's there for like 2 minutes and honestly he's like the least memorable character in the whole thing, probably.
You're not wrong. Now, Nick, we do have a plethora, a smorgasbord of manga to talk about today. And we perhaps would be remiss.
A Super Smash Brothers roster of chapters.
Everybody's here except for Chainsaw Man, but that ended. So actually, everybody's here.
Oh, World Trigger didn't run this week either.
That's true. That's true. But it runs every week in my heart, and that's good enough, right?
And Backdoor.
Whoa, Nick! Don't you be talking about Backdoor right now, okay?
No, I'm sorry. I forgot that that's completely inappropriate, and that's not something that we've ever brought up on the podcast.
It's off limits right now, yeah. Yes, we have a lot of manga to talk about, including we're going to be talking about the end of Black Clover, one of our longest running series in the magazine right now. Well, magazine, quote unquote. But we start with Ichi the Witch.
The Witch, yeah. It's a story. It's, well, not story. 81st Hunt put up which begins with a humorous little scene where, Hades got a visual of everything that's going on. It's got helpful post-it notes on it saying like "live must see," and little messages that say like, "Hey, if Ichi dies, I'm like super sorry." It's like, one, was this mirror here the entire time, like since her dinner with with the world hater magic? And did he not think of anything, or did it just like pop into existence just now? Like what exactly did Fujimine do in order to make this mirror appear here?
Who knows? I love that she got a really good camera angle of everything that's currently going on. Like she picked the right mirror to show everything through.
Yeah, she understands the importance of production values.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, of course, last time Amadoro used her minigun to shoot up a mirror, which I think was leading into the Witches' Council meeting, started raising havoc. And it turns out she's not acting entirely on her own because people that follow her, who also have gun magic, not miniguns, but like, shotgun magic, rifle magic, revolver magic.
Do these all count as magic if you just pick up a gun in this universe? Like if I just pick up an assault rifle, are they the Bullet Witch assault rifle version? Or are they just like, dang, I should have thought of that. Like I should have picked up that gun.
Alternatively, are guns just as prolific in the magic world as they are in America? Can you just like go down to the store and just you don't even get carded? It's just like, all right, sure, just don't.
They have stores.
Just don't use it except to shoot a bad guy.
Yeah,
Promise you won't.
Only use this on magics, okay, and evil ones. All right, now get out of here, you scamp.
And they're all saying that they need to find Ichi the Witch, up until one of them basically almost gets struck because Baxter and Higurashi arrive on the scene. They have confirmed magic infraction because, witches are acting outside of their duties. And so they are going to start dispensing justice and stuff. They have a little argument at first over how many of them are going to like handle what, because they are, vitriolic best buddies and all that kind of thing. Then Hat Boy starts issuing commands to everyone saying like, hey, listen, Amadoro is, in charge here. They've got all these different, people in their family. They're after them. We're going to apprehend the Bullet Witch. We're going to apprehend her accomplices. And, hey, Moneygold, let me have access to the association, the entire association. And Moneygold's like, the entirety of the HQ? Yeah, we don't know where the Bullet Witch is. So let us search the whole association, top to bottom. Chop, chop.
Kind of suspicious what's going on right now.
Fortunately, Amadoro comes popping out of a mirror directly behind him and tries to shoot him point blank. Minakata pulls out his weapon, which has all these like glowing kind of like dragon-like runes on it, and blocks the attacks. So we see the Kamugi and Ichi were protected by it, but also there's a dome around Ichi that protected them too. So when Ichi only thanks Minakata, she's like, I protected you too! I summoned the barrier!
I helped! What is this?
And Ichi is like, oh yeah, thanks to you too. Like it's not that he's like ignoring her too. It's just that, he's got two jealous mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Amadoro introduces herself with a nice bow and everything, which is very impressive to do when you're carrying a minigun. Introduces herself to Ichi and says, at the request of a refined lady and my sweetest friend, I have come to take your life. And of course, death triggers instantly, and Ichi pulls out his knife and dashes forward to attack Amadoro. And Minakata shouts out, halt! And Ichi skids to a stop, short of Amadoro, who was going to, pump him full of magic bullets when he ran in. So because he stopped short, Minakata is able to dash in the way, use his strange magic weapon thing, and just spins it around in a circle that blocks all the bullets, which is, how that works.
That's pretty helpful. Yeah.
If you spin it fast enough, you can deflect bullets. Yeah.
I was just joke about that, but I do believe that's how Donnie Yen's character gets through a scene in Rogue One. I believe he just spins a staff really fast and all the lasers bounce off of it.
Yeah, and he survives that movie, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I kind of fell asleep in the last 25 minutes, so I don't remember, but the Death Star plans got taken away, so they must have succeeded, which means they all lived.
Right, exactly. Minakata scolds Ichi and says, like, hey, you still haven't fixed your habit of just overreacting to bloodlust. I taught you, you've got to observe your opponent first. You still don't know how to hunt witches, so watch and learn. Just like we used to do, I'm your mentor after all. And Ichi gets all shiny-eyed when he says this, and Destroyerz gets all, no, you're not. And that's our chapter. So squaring off Witch versus Magic Keeper. And things are getting more exciting now as battles engage and stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely something more going on here because there is a particular lack of setup going on that strikes in like an obvious way at this point where we're like, why is Amadoro doing all this? Like we don't know if they're even friends with what's her face. So like who even knows if that's who she's talking about right now?
She did not say Fujimine by name in this chapter. Yeah.
So there's curious bits there. There's a little bit of Hat Man who's like, I'm going to need access to the entire witches organization. You're like,
oh man, you guys are under attack. You better give me access to the whole organization.
You're like, oh, how convenient you're here when that happens. So yeah, a lot of interesting little details going on. I'll be curious to see where it goes. I do like how they're continuing this idea of Minakata and Destroyerz just shamelessly wanting to one up each other and be like in their relationship with Ichi. And I do like how Destroyerz is taking the L currently right now, where she's like, I also shielded you. I'm also very cool.
Look at me. I am the coolest one here. Come on, remember? I have an action figure.
Yeah, she's doing great. But yeah, it's interesting stuff, and I'm excited to see it kind of, I don't know, it feels like things are about to get kind of messy soon, and I'm kind of excited by that. Also, I want to see these magic people get their back doors pushed in, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You were searching so much for that word.
I had to, I'm like, what do I say? Do I be ribald? Do I go crude? Because you could also call it a turd cutter, but that's not nearly as colloquially acceptable of a term as backdoor.
All right. Blue box.
Blue box.
It's chapter 241. Love all. Play. Taiki has just defeated Haruto, and we see that he has, made it to the final round of the singles tournament, which means that he's getting into nationals, and as he is kind of just sitting off by himself, Chinatsu joins him and congratulates him on that accomplishment, because, he doesn't necessarily need to win the tournament in order to get invited, but Taiki says it is still too early to celebrate. Mm-hmm. But she still puts it into perspective just by saying, like, hey, I understand you need to beat Yusa, but this isn't just a distant goal now. This is something that you should be happy about, that you are actually within reach of this thing that you had set your sights on for so long. And Taiki says it's thanks to her support. She says, look, I've always looked up to you. I always admired you, and I've been inspired by your words and actions. And Chinatsu is like, oh, okay, fine. Well, thank you too, because when Yumika quit basketball, I was really struggling to get inspired myself. And thanks to you being there, I was able to keep on going to morning practice and work hard. And then she looks at him and says, we're thanks mates. And Taiki's just like, all right, you made that up. Which I appreciate that he called out how weird a term that is. But they have a little laugh together, and we get a flashback from Chinatsu's perspective, which we have often, seen her when, Taiki is at practice. She is over on the basketball courts on the other side of the dividing net from the badminton courts. And we see, her looking over at him and seeing, what he gets up to, not just practicing, but, having exchanges with his friends, with
Go.
Hina. And then she looks down in the present at his badminton racket and says, "Hey, can I see that?" And before Taiki can really ask what that's about, she holds up the racket in front of her face and says, "I'm cheering for you on the other side of this net." And I kind of wish that we had these two expressions that they make in this big 2-page spread where she makes this declaration throughout the entire rest of this dialogue of Taiki just kind of being like, "I don't know what's going on right now."
It'd be like, I don't quite understand this one, Shinatsu. You quirked up a little too much on me.
But he thinks this is very silly, which Chinatsu, I like that on this one. She's like, "Oh, haha." She's like, No, I'm being serious. What the hell?
Like,
Why are you
how
laughing?"
dare you? I'm being serious.
I set up a net so that I could call back the fact that there's been this net between us when we're inspired by each other. Don't you understand the symbolism of what I'm doing?
And that's when Taiki has to be like, I can't see in your mind when you're thinking of these things before you say them, right?
You need to do that so that you understand how clever I'm being. But Taiki says, "Hey, well, I'm going to fight while remembering the fact that, you just did that now. Every time I look at my racket, I'm going to remember you're cheering me on. So I'm going to go with this." So, hey, he saved it. That's nice. But at that moment, we cut over to what's going on with Taiki's opponent, Yusa, who is napping. And Haruto finds him just like parked up in the bleachers somewhere. And he's like, "What are you doing? You're going to lose if you underestimate Taiki." And Yusa just like, "I just wanted a nap. I'm not underestimating him." Haruto is upset with himself for not having beaten Taiki because he's like, "I was supposed to make the finals." And Yusa looks up at him and he says, "Hey, you remember before when we were talking about how poor lonely you, when no one wanted to practice with me and stuff? I rarely feel lonely, but I did feel it a little when you went to AMA." Aww. And
that's a sweet little moment.
Yeah, that's kind of the only thing that he really says about that. Is like, I wish I wish you'd been with me this whole time. But he says, "Hey, let's both get stronger. I do feel lonely since I don't have anyone to compete against. So I'll be your practice partner as long as you want, as the strongest player in Japan." And Haruto seems touched very briefly. Then he's like, "You haven't won the tournament yet. You can't call yourself that yet. So screw you." And Taiki and Yusa have both made it all the way to the finals. And we see, all of Taiki's friends who have come to cheer him on. Haruto has vowed not to really cheer for either of them because, he's kind of invested in both of them the same amount. But they're coming to the courts as we get an announcement. First game, love all play. And that's it. So we'll see how this turns out starting in the next chapter, I suppose.
There was a good build up to it. I like all the shots of as we're getting in there where they're like, "Oh, Mata from Maria." We see all of his parents and a lot of the people who are here to cheer are all being focused on. And there is a weird good build up going on to a match that we've talked before that Blue Box is a sports series. And that it doesn't really focus on the sport, but it does use it as the vehicle for telling the story. And I'm excited to see that. But this is, for all intents and purposes, the most important match in this series.
Yes.
So I'll be curious to see how this kind of plays out. I really don't actually have a guess as to whether Taiki wins here or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could go either way and be really satisfying. So I'm happy to just kind of sit back and see what happens.
Yep. It is possible that Taiki could win, but that there's not, gigantic consequences if he loses because, as has been established, he has already qualified for the national tournament. But I do appreciate that, his goal for a long time is hey, he wants to beat Yusa. So this is his chance to do that. and we'll see just how close that he gets in that attempt.
Exactly. So a lot of very exciting stuff. So looking forward to seeing what happens next in Blue Box.
Yeah,
Nick.
well, we're done with Blue, but I'm feeling kind of beat up, so I'm also black. So black and blue like bruises.
Oh, yeah, clever. We're talking about Black Clover.
You need to get in my head so you understand how clever that was.
I need to get in your head so I can see that you were thinking about bruises when you brought up black and blue, and then I can like Taiki be like, oh, I get it. The net was always between us.
Yeah,
I see what you're going for.
Yeah, it's the last 3 chapters or last 3 pages of Black Clover.
Black Clover,
which began what feels like forever ago, because it's of course.
It did.
Well, it was like about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Years and 3 months at this point. Of course, it was on hiatus for part of that time, and for the last several years, it has been on very irregular releases.
Yes.
Just every few months, we've gotten a batch of chapters. And yeah, we're at the last 3. Here we are.
Yeah, we're going to start by talking about Black Clover, page 390. The Promised Showdown. We get a big 2-page color spread with essentially every significant character in the cast. I say almost just to kind of be as a defense, because I believe Rebecca is in there somewhere. And as we all know, Nick, now Rebecca is not an important character, so I didn't want to state that everyone important is on here. Some schmucks get in here too. But for the most part, it's everyone who's a big deal in this series. And it's nice to see them all in color, smiling as we kind of start wrapping up the series, as this chapter opens up 6 months after the big climactic events of Master Luscious and his attack on the Clover Kingdom, and everyone in town is abuzz. Who's going to be the new Wizard King? I think it's going to be Yuno. What are you saying? Obviously, it's going to be Asta. And that argument perpetuates throughout the entire town. A bunch of people are, in big arguments. Some people being like, no, Master Yuno's the best. He's so cool. He's so great. No, what Asta said really moved me. Even the captains couldn't come to an agreement. Yami admits that he and Vengeance pretty much came to blows over it, to the point where they're like, you know what, let's just let them fight each other. And whoever wins gets to be Wizard King.
Nobody wants to just have a democratic vote.
No.
That would be stupid. We can't give power to the people. That would be silly. Just because we've had 2 people who came from this orphanage that have proven that, great leaders can come from anywhere. No, you shouldn't have a voice. We should have the powerful people fight over it directly.
Yep. So Asta and Yuno have found an abandoned Dragon Ball Z arena for them to fight on. It's like just a square rock in the middle of nowhere. And they're going to have their fight, a big showdown. We get a big 2-page spread that's kind of split between them. We get like a page that's divided in half, and each side shows the 2 characters and all the various times that they were kind of motivated by one another to continue their dream of being the Wizard King. And we even get to see that original shot of let's see who's going to be the Wizard King from when this adventure first started over a decade ago, Nick. And with that, the fight begins. And honestly, this is a pretty good fight. Black Clover's fights aren't always the most legible at times, but this, I think, is actually pretty easy to parse. There's a lot of action. But unfortunately, everything Asta does is some equivalence of erasing magic with a sword, so I don't know how specific.
But he's underpowered.
It's the underdog in this fight when you think about it.
He's such an underdog. I mean, if he hits you once, then you just kind of lose. But he's always the underdog.
Yeah, pretty much. That chapter basically ends
Nick,
in their
shouldn't
fight.
you let this go? No.
It wouldn't be Black Clover if we didn't end by bringing up, you're like, Asta being anti-magic kind of ruins like the whole underpinning of this entire shonen fantasy manga when you think about it. So that's chapter 390. They end in like a big sword clash. And in chapter 391, or page 391, I should say, a conclusion reached. They're kind of squaring off, and we just kind of touch on a bunch of different people narrating the match. I would sit here and say, oh, well, this person said this, this person said that. But none of the things that they are individually saying are interesting. All these lines could be exactly from one character to the same way all the way through, and you would not notice it really. So everyone's just talking like, oh, wow, look how overwhelming their attacks are. These guys are so crazy. Asta's using Zetten, and Yuno's wary of Zetten. So they're playing it really, careful right now. And it really comes down to what is going to run out first. Yuno's magic or Asta's body. Like, what's going to hit the limit? We see that Asta is using some of his swords to kind of block some of the attacks, stop Asta from teleporting around. And Yuno manages to knock some of Asta's swords away, so that's really good. And then he just takes a gigantic rock and smashes it with it. He just teleports a big rock on top of Asta and crushes him with it. And I do enjoy.
Good plan. Here, D-magic this.
Yeah.
It's a rock.
D-magic this big rock, you idiot. But I do enjoy that Gauche is the first person who's like, well, if Asta wasn't...
That's the reason... Can you imagine if that's the way that someone finally beat Asta in this series? If they just, have ways of just chucking big things at him? It's like, you can't dispel this, fuck you.
You get the Dio cement roller move, but he's just like, oh, this is actually the most effective move I could have done on this guy. Gauche brings up, if Asta was an Asta, he'd be dead, which would be really funny if you did just kill him here in this supposed to be friendly match.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, though. He'll win this because he's Asta,
And Nozel, who I guess is just not read this manga, says, that's gotta be it. Guys, it is over. He's been crushed by a big rock. Asta, of course, breaks the rock. He uses Zetten with his fist and smashes straight through it. And tries to pull up a shield made of magic, which was really, honestly, quite funny.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Because he just gets punched straight through it, and they're just like, wow,
oh,
no. He cloned his arm in anti-magic. And I'm like, that's...
What did you think was going to happen? Even if he didn't do that, he's got so many anti-magic things. He could have taken his pants off and farted out a new anti-magic sword in order to get through the shield. Like, come on, guys.
Honestly, he really could have. Tries to strike back, and he realizes, he's out of magic. Oh, no. No, he's not. He has a little bit more. He uses a little bit more magic, and they're like, wow, that guy's really beloved by magic. And, comes in with his sword, and Asta summons his really big sword and just cuts straight through Yuno's sword, has him basically in the mercy position. And Yuno, with pride but a little sadness, says, you win, Asta. And the chapter ends with Asta saying, I was able to keep chasing my dream because you were here. And everyone starts cheering.
Yep.
Which brings us, Nick, to final page 392, Beyond Not Giving Up. There is a lot going on in this chapter. I may not cover every single detail. I'm going to do my best.
There's a lot of callbacks to some very minor characters.
Yes.
So this is a very last chapter of Naruto.
Yes.
Last chapter. A lot of cutting around.
Right down to the surprising shipping pairs that happen.
Well, honestly, there's no pair in this that is as completely out of nowhere as Karui and Choji.
Sure.
So, like every couple that you see get together had a fairly significant, maybe not fairly significant amount, but very straightforward presentation of like, oh, these two could end up together at some point in the story.
Yeah. Exactly. So we opened the chapter with the priest of the church that Asta and grew up at in the orphanage. And he's here announcing, like, this is the church where the two heroes that vied for the title of the Wizard King was raised. And, in the shadows of this legendary demon, basically just going off about how awesome this location particularly is. And the children think to themselves, or say out loud, I wonder how Nash is doing at the Magic Knight's entrance exam. Nick, do you remember Nash?
And everyone's like, yeah, Nash.
Everyone is so excited. Remember Nash? And I think the based off this image, the fire punch magic he seems to have, or I'm not sure. Maybe that's a medical condition he needs to get checked out.
I mean, he apparently was in the very first chapter of Black Clover, Quinn. So
was he? Oh, okay, okay. It makes sense. We then get a joke because Gauche is begging his dear sweet little sister Marie. He's like, please don't try for a crazy dangerous job like this one. And Marie, who's now a slight bit older, 2 years older. I don't remember how old she was before, but she's still, I guess she's the age Asta and Yuno were when they started this. She says, what are you talking about, Gauche? Seeing how dashing you were was what made me decide to be a magic knight. So he fucked up, basically. And she says, I'll be fine. You two go have some tea together, she says to Gray, who was hiding behind Gauche. Well, technically she was behind him, holding him back from trying to stop his little sister.
Right. She took one of her, one of her forms to, physically restrain him. Apparently, there were several years. There was a time skip at one point, remember, within Black Clover. So when Marie first showed up, she was just like a kid. But it's been like 5 years since then.
God, so. Sure. I don't remember the other time skip, but I do believe it happened. I just don't remember.
After all the elves and stuff got defeated, there was a few years after that point where there was a time skip. And so there's been, another couple years on top of that in between the previous chapter and this one.
Yeah. Basically, Marie just teases Gauche about how he needs to make sure he doesn't let Gray go because she's the only person who will tolerate his weird sister con behavior, basically.
She's completely correct. I mean, yes, you need to lock this down. You're not going to have anyone else.
So there's a lot of different people we see around town. We see
Nick.
Nick, yeah, sure.
That's the one that really took me off. I was like, who the fuck is this?
I don't remember who Nick is, but he's somebody. Oh, I think, was he in the village that asked the saves early on?
Which one, Quinn?
There's a village with an evil ice guy. I don't remember. Anyway, Nick shows up, in case you were curious, Nick. We cut over.
He hates being in Black Clover. He just he thinks all the characters are boring and just kind of shout the same things in group scenes.
He's actually extremely unpopular in this universe because
everyone is like, "Wow, what a spoil sport!"
Everyone's like, "Party pooper. We love these guys. Stop shitting on them and their cool powers
We're not bothering you. Yeah. Why are you?"
Our world doesn't exist for narrative significance for us, so it's fine that the anti-magic is anticlimactic. Wouldn't you be excited if every problem was solved by the same solution each time?
You'd never have to worry about anything.
Oh my dang, you're right. I want to say her name is Soul, but I'm not 100% sure, but it's Charlotte's number 2. Whew, got it. Never didn't have it. She says, newbies these days are tough, which is an insane thing to say. No generation has ever said that about the generation that comes after them. They're always like, look at these little idiots. These little fucking dickheads. They suck. They have it too easy.
Also, we haven't seen what any of them can fucking do. And the generation immediately prior to them birthed the Wizard King and the second in line to be the Wizard King. What do you mean these days they're tough?
Asta got crushed by a really big rock.
This is like saying that the draft class after LeBron James is the best draft class ever.
Look, Mel Kiper's got to say something, all right? He's got to keep the job. Yeah. So Charlotte, as she's watching all of this, thinks about how Yami, I forgot his name for a second, is basically sending off his little sister saying hey, I'm going to stop by for a visit sometimes, but, have a safe trip back. And she offers him a small little magical item, says carrying it will let you understand the languages of other countries, and it will also convert the words you say. It's a universal translator. So when we get Black Clover Part 2 and they meet the aliens, you'll know how they talk to them.
Yeah.
Also, Asta just notes, he's like, oh, they put one of those on me when I wasn't paying attention. And you're like, good to know.
All right. We just need to put a freaking tracking device on this guy so that we don't lose him.
So we have, why have I forgotten her name? Her, Yami's little sister. Ichika. There we go. Ichika is like, oh, I hope you'll visit the land of the sun, elder sister Charlotte. And she's like, elder sister? I mean, we're only dating. And Yami just bluntly is just like, yeah, I'm thinking long term on this. And she's like, oh, good. Like, she is very embarrassed and blushing, and it's adorable. Asta is just kind of there being like, oh, that's all so great to hear. Yami does not care that this is his, liege. He immediately just starts punishing Asta by squeezing his head really hard. Yeah, and he's like, hey, wait, no, I'm the Wizard King. You can't do this to me.
Yeah, yes, I can. Fuck you.
He's like, absolutely doing it. And we find out that in this little flashback, it was very fortuitous because Sol just says, so, how's your hubby doing? And she says, oh, the same as always. And then thinks, like, I'm still not used to that, like, saying that, basically.
Before we move on.
Yes.
So we see that in this bit where, there is a send-off for Ichika and for, the party that is departing back to their country. So Yami, of course, is sending her off. Charlotte is there, presumably, because, she is close with Yami now. Asta sending her off, of course. And also Sister Lily is there.
The nun. I assume it's...
She says nothing in this scene. Like, is Asta trying to play some game like, oh, well, Mr. Yami is going with his girlfriend, so Sister Lily, you should come with me. And she's like, I'm still sworn to, to
celibacy.
Not be with anyone romantically. It's not, I raised you like a mother.
Yeah,
You really need to drop this. There are so many women who are just throwing themselves at you.
You have
every time we
multiple
go down the
major
streets,
suitors.
People fall out of the windows. And this was before you became the Wizard King. You need to give up on me.
You need to chill. I should also note that Yami uses that moment to reveal that he is quitting his job as a Magic Knight. He is going to, he's like, just make some position. I will still be involved with the Magic Knights, but I am retiring as captain of the Black Bulls, which, as we cut over to the Black Bulls, we see the new captain. That's right, Nick. Niche.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. Nature Boy Ric Flair. We are introduced to him by Vanessa slamming in the door with all of her clothes off, because I had forgotten that was one of her gimmicks for a little bit.
Remember when she was an unserious character before all her development and stuff like that? Yeah, we're just going to turn that back because, we're Black Clover and we forget character development.
Yeah.
So...
in this moment, we don't find out who the current vice captain of the Black Bulls is. I assume it's Vanessa, as she is the most senior member, I believe, after. Like, I don't know. Who cares, I guess, at this point? He's basically just like, you know what? I will help you out with that, but you got to put the liquor down. Luck and Magna still fighting each other. Crazy. They're always going at it. Zora tricks both of them with a little trap, and they blow up, and they're like, wow, that was really cool. Gordon and Henry are playing cards and being great friends. Finral is about to be a dad. He's like, oh my gosh, yep. My wife is pregnant. This is very crazy. Langris thinks like, oh wow, it's going to be nice to be an uncle. Then he...
There's something about the way that this is worded.
Okay.
That Langris says, so I'm going to be an uncle, huh? She's like 6 months pregnant. Like,
he's just finally thinking about it.
Are you just getting this now?
he thought about it for a moment, and he kind of let it pass, and then like really kind of dawned on. He's like, oh, really?
Actually, Finral says I'm about to be a dad, so she's probably like very close to term. And like Langris is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be an uncle. Wait, this is where babies come from.
He actually had someone off screen explain everything to him, so he's all good. And I love in this moment, just a great narrative transition. Finral says, still, who'd have guessed she'd be a parent before I was, as he stares off into the middle distance. And we cut over to Charmy and Rill, a happily married couple with, I'm so sorry, poor Charmy, like 9 kids? I don't know.
7, Quinn, because there's 7 dwarfs. You get it?
That's actually pretty clever. That's pretty good. Charmy's genes don't seem to be particularly strong because 6 of them look exactly like Rill and only one of them has black hair.
But they all have her eyes.
Yeah, that's
and her
true.
Expression, though.
But they all have Rill's annoying face. So that's a problem.
Yeah, well, we gotta go take care of that. So.
I was gonna make a joke, and I was like, Quinn, Nick is never going to insinuate that he would hurt children, babies, just because they happen to be a little bit annoying.
Oh, please. They're 2-dimensional. They can take it.
Absolutely. And yeah, they're in love. It's great. Everything's going awesome for them. Cut over to Noelle and Mimosa, and they're thinking, wow, that guy's already settled in as the Wizard King. It's really surprising. And they also mentioned that Lolo Pachica and Gaja are officially getting married. So that's going great. And they also just throw out there Mario Leona is being courted in the land of the sun. And I don't know if that's like a tease for a future work or something, but I guess we'll find out. Noelle straight up just says, I was going to wait until his work as the Wizard King calmed down, but I don't know, I guess she thought about that. She's like, I guess that probably isn't really going to happen. That doesn't usually happen where you're the highest position and you get free time. So she says, well, our fight begins now, Mimosa. And Mimosa says, I won't lose to you. And
now, before we move on past this point, so obviously, like, we get this stretch where it's like, oh, and here is how all the couples progressed and stuff. Mm-hmm. And as it turns out, the one that basically saw no progression in terms of love interest was the main one, which is, yes, the love triangle between Asta and Noelle and Mimosa. To which my gut instinct was like, oh, that's kind of a cheat. But honestly, I do appreciate the idea of like, hey, we're seeing like, these people are all like different ages, so all of their relationships progress, in somewhat different ways. We've got some who are just like started dating, some of them are kind of like freshly married, some of them are close to having kids, some of them have a bunch of kids. So, like, not all relationships are going to like all suddenly be like, oh, they all have kids. Like, I think that people made I can't remember who, but made the realization of like, it's weird that in Boruto you find out that like all those couples had kids like at the same time.
Yeah.
Like all of them get to be in the same ninja class together. It's like, did they coordinate this? What the hell? This is weird. So
there was like a tax incentive one year that was really, really good. They're like, babe, we're an idiot if we don't have a kid this year.
Oh, well, I guess we better do it then, right? That's why we have to do it.
Gotta.
So I do appreciate in that regard. I do, however, find myself being frustrated that, like, the one thing that you have for Noelle in this epilogue is her saying, and now I'll start getting serious about Asta. And that's the only thing.
It's a little bit disappointing because it's not even like she has like a prominent moment in the other 2 chapters. Like when it comes to the conclusion, It really is just that. My issue is like, are we still trying to play off this idea that there's a fight between Noelle and Mimosa for who's more important to I can't think of a single thing Mimosa did in this series. I think she healed him once.
She healed him a bunch of times. There was that time she healed him, and the other time she healed him. And
I'm like, this is crazy. Noelle and him had such a long, intricate relationship. They went through like a beginning, a middle, an end, and she is still on the same level as like, I don't know, the girl from next door who just won't give it up. Who's just like, no, I kind of fancy him too.
Hey, it worked out for Rihime, didn't it? So
that is true. That is true.
That's not fair to Rihime. She actually had character moments with Ichigo.
We zoom around to a whole bunch of other characters. We see the Fire Guild members. We see, you know what? I don't need to go through everybody here. If you care about your favorites, they're all here. The Noel family is eating together.
Sekre has a moment where she reflects on, like, oh, Prince Lumiere, you're gone, but hey, the Clover Kingdom's at peace. So, that's a nice moment for her.
Yeah.
So.
We see Mars, and I forget what the name of that girl is, got married over in the Diamond Kingdom, where, again, the mind control tactic really worked without any issue. That's great. The witches are doing amazing. Lolo Pachica has a giant beaver she can hang out on now. That's pretty cool. I wish I had one of those. The elves are doing great and seem to welcome Vengeance into them. So everything's going really, really excellent. We cut over to Yuno. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. I know you just got back from the Spade Kingdom. And he's like, well, as captain, it's an important duty for me to be here during all that sort of stuff. So, and I'd like someone who has the guts to say they'll surpass me. So, we cut over to the event where all the mages are going to get their magic and be entered in. When I forget his name, stupid Toadhead guy comes in and is like, we're under attack. A weird spaceship or unidentified aircraft just showed up. And everybody is jumping into action. This is the time for things to get going. And we see in the final 2-page spread, the Wizard King Asta in a very cool outfit. He has 2 swords. He has chains. He has a lot of fur trim on all of his outfits. Pretty crazy.
Yep, that's the end of Black Clover. I will say I am glad that we did get to have like a big, proper, like celebratory conclusion to this series that we really seen for a time like it was just not going to get to end because of Tabata's health. So it was nice to see that. It seems like there were a lot of fan-pleasing moments in this. You need to look no farther than the first goddamn page of the official English translation to see credits from letterer Annalise. Ace is so happy for Finral Christman. So so I think that this is definitely like, if you are a Black Clover fan, you probably love the hell out of this chapter.
Yes.
I have been a critic of Black Clover for 11 years. And I don't think that this is a bad conclusion, though. I think that this is, like the kind of conclusion that you probably want to see from it. It's really just kind of a matter of like, it's unfortunate that we didn't have like the proper build and conclusion for the actual final arc of the series. But these last 3 chapters, like, I could totally see like that going down if you were like, had only experienced like the first 3 years or so of Black Clover. You could probably imagine like, oh, it could end on like those kind of terms. I could see that, and you would probably be happy with it.
I think that I generally agree. I've never been the biggest Black Clover fan, but at this point, I mean, like, this is not a surprising ending. This is like, if you paid me to write an ending to Black Clover when it first came out, I would have probably have said something relatively similar to this. But that said, I don't think we've gotten this far with Black Clover by, thinking like, well, it really subverts expectations and goes for the odd route. Like, no, it's picked the very, predictable stuff, but it does it in a very enjoyable way. And I imagine there's a lot of people who really dig that. I enjoy parts of it. I think that the fight between Yuno and Asta is actually like pretty satisfying and cool. Like, it does kind of live up to this long-standing rivalry they've had, given them like 2 chapters to kind of really go at one another, and both of them seem like they might have the victory at one point or another. And honestly, more than anything, the Black Clover ending makes me a little nostalgic, because I realize that that decade now is over. Like, My Hero has ended. Toriko is long ended at this point. All these sorts of series. So it's really just World Trigger as like sort of the last remaining series from that area.
Well, World Trigger and Boruto.
No, I don't count Boruto. It ended. A new series started. It's called Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. It's completely different.
Fine.
No.
In terms of but in terms of series that started in Jump in that era, it's basically like World Trigger and Boruto are basically the only two left in that from that entire decade. There are some, of course, that like are still kicking around from before that. Not just One Piece, but Hunter x Hunter, whenever it comes back from hiatus, it still qualifies. And also, Bastard is alive in a certain form.
Okay.
That was also from the 90s. It's like, I can't remember. It's in a different magazine, and I've never read it, so I couldn't tell you too much about it, but that's still kicking around. But yeah, this is like for a very long stretch of time, like all the stuff that, we kind of like, saw coming up in the time that, we started this podcast. Like the only stuff that's really around now is stuff that's from this decade. And that's about
pretty recent, there's a part of me that's nostalgic for Black Clover in that time period as I kind of think about how it's kind of closed now at this point. But in that same way, I'm glad Black Clover got to deliver the ending it wanted to. I'm really glad Tabata got to kind of slowly put out the rest of the series. I know it was obviously a little bit expedited from probably what he wanted to do, but I don't think you can tell really by the end. I think he kind of executed on a lot of really good points by the end of things. And I'm just very happy that Black Clover got to have its happy conclusion. I think that's got to be really cool for everybody who was a big fan of it.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's gonna be it for Black Clover. Let's move on from there and get ourselves some Dandadan in here.
Let's get Dandadan. This is Dandadan.
Dandadan.
Chapter 233. This old
man has the heart of a water flea. Oh my god, a brachiosaur.
Yep. As we mentioned before, I was like, hey, that wasn't Gigi being eaten by a brachiosaur, and as you clarified, that was a little bit of a flashback. Gigi is still being eaten by a brachiosaur. Momo is looking around like, what's happening? This can't be real. Stop. Where'd everybody go? And she realizes, oh, hey, this is just like that last time. And suddenly, all of the dinosaur skeletons start to manifest like muscle and tissue and just become real dinosaurs. We get a big 2-page spread.
Real dinosaurs.
A lot of dinosaurs going on. Full on scary monster parade, Nick, you could say.
Great 2-page spread of Momo running around with all the dinosaurs coming to life in the park. It's cool.
Yes. Cut over to Ira and Okarun and the near naked man who just came out of a sea lion, which is just a fun sentence you could say. Ira's, stands in front of Okarun, is like, get behind me, I'll take care of this. And I don't know what to call him, so I'm just going to call him Sea Lion Man. Says, this old man has the heart of a water flea. And a second voice kind of calls him. He's like, oh, my apologies. I do try to be respectful no matter the situation. And this individual introduces themselves as members of the Vlad's Guard, the Dragon Knights. And we are here to take your powers. For lack of another name, we're going to call this guy Scissor Man. And also, there's a bunch of very fancy dressed men with drooping faces all carrying a hammer. So
some of them have hockey sticks as well. So very much like, weapons carried by like, street gangs that don't want to get in trouble for violating weapons laws kind of thing. So.
And they're all wearing very nice tuxedos. So I like that coordination.
Yes.
We hear like, are you the, masterminds who have been targeting us? And Scissorman says, look, the other knights are ruffians. I am not. If you submit and accept your defeat, you will be spared. And Ira's like, that's not happening. I'm not accepting defeat at the hands of someone weaker than myself. And I am more than enough to take you on. And you see a moment of Scissorman be like, how amusing. But he's like, we're not interested in the powers of the acrobatic Silky. We need the powers of Turbo Granny. And Okarun's like, but I don't have any powers.
What are you talking about?
I don't have those anymore. And they're like, oh, we know that you are a liar, Okarun. And he's like, no, I really don't have powers. Ira decides to get ready to start fighting, and she tries to like take her, very low to the ground starting position. But as she tries to get traction, she finds the floor is extremely slippery. She can't get any kind of grip. And we see, I forgot he did it this way, the sea lion man just kind of licking the ground, just getting his whole tongue hog just real touched with the ground.
That's how you make things slippery, Quinn. Come on.
That is.
What else is he going to do? Honestly.
You're right about that. What else could he do? Ira's like, is this his power? And I do like Okaroon still just like, no.
I don't.
Seriously, guys, I don't have a power. But we end the chapter with Sea Lion Man saying, this old man has the heart of a water flea as he turns back into a sea lion, and then he uses Aqua Jet, which gets priority +1 and sends our 2 heroes flying. Look, this is a wild, chaotic time. It's when Dandadan's at its best. I do have to sit here and question the decision to have a villain whose power is scissors. When we, a couple weeks ago, still don't know what's going on with Kinta and that haircut guy. Are these the same?
Yeah,
is
true.
it the same person? Or is there just like a scissors theme going on? Who knows? Maybe they're big fans of the Acclaimed.
You think that, like, at some point or another, we're going to have, like Tatsu do like a Q&A, and someone's going to be like, hey, when you broke off everybody into all those different fights, yeah? So you had the sea lion guy and the Brachiosaurus, yeah? So the guy that Kinta Vimola fought, the barber guy, how come he didn't have the scissors? Oh!
He's just like, what? Screaming. I'm such a fool. I'm a fraud. I think it would also be very funny if he just forgot about that. Like after these fights are done, they just meet up again with Kinta and Vimola, and no one discusses what happened.
Everyone's like, wow, that's a dashy new haircut.
Yeah, Kinta just has a great haircut, and they never bring it up again.
Oh, man. Spy Family. Let's move on to there. It's mission 134, which begins very suddenly with Lloyd being confronted by Yuri's workmates saying, "And where'd you live before that? Where'd you go to college? Who did you associate with there?" And Lloyd wonders how he ended up in this situation where he's being interrogated by all these members of the secret police. Le gasp. So we get a cut to several days earlier, where Yuri is rubbing his hand with a handkerchief repeatedly and agitatedly, because he hates the fact that he gave Lloyd a fist bump at the end of that whole terrorist taping thing that happened.
Pontius Pilate over here. He's like, my hand will never be clean.
Yeah. What great crime did you commit? I got along with my sister's husband. I'll never be able to go to heaven now.
I'm scum.
So of course, everyone's like, why are you like this to your brother-in-law? He's like, stop calling him that. And so
why are you like this is a question I assume
why are you
Yuri
like this?
Gets daily.
But one of them brings up like, hey, were you guys like free this weekend? We're trying to get together. And the director of the secret police is like, I want to come. He's like, no, not you. But Yuri comes up with an idea. Ooh. Lloyd, we go to the Forger household. We see that Anya is heading out to spend some time with Becky. Yor is going out as well. And so Lloyd's like, well, I guess I just, have the day off. So maybe I can go and do some hospital paperwork. Because even Bond doesn't want to spend time with him because he's like, you want to go training, Bond? No, it's a sleep day for dogs. So Lloyd's, trying to think of what to do. And then Yuri comes in, says that he's there for Yor, but Yor's not there, of course. So Yuri says, I guess it'll just be you and me then. Come. And of course, immediately like, well, what's going on? Why would Yuri willingly spend time with just Lloyd during this? Well, he takes him to the party that they were talking about at his work. And so, yep, it's just a nice house party with a whole bunch of people. But Lloyd instantly realizes, wait a second, these are all members of the state security service. And so he thinks that Yuri has brought him here because he suspects him of being Twilight. And so he's desperately trying to be like, what do I do? how has this happened? How is he on to me and stuff? And he starts to like get an ulcer because he's under so much stress that he is suppressing. And he, is quickly approached by Yuri's closest friends at work, which are Captain Curtis and what's her name? Anna, I want to say, the girl who kind of has a thing for Yuri.
I'll co-sign Anna in the sense that I know no other name to offer in contrast.
But we find out that this whole thing is that Yuri went to all of his workmates and said, like, I want you guys to determine if he's actually worthy to be my sister's partner. And at first everyone was like, no. But a couple of people did sign on to this. And we're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you do like kind of lose your mind whenever it comes to your sister.
Maybe we can help make you a little more normal. Maybe this will help.
They're like, maybe we can make him okay with this, basically.
Yeah.
So the whole reason that this is happening is that these two are very serious about actually trying to find out what's going on with Lloyd, and everyone else is kind of drunk and thinks it'd be fun to join into. So Lloyd, meanwhile, is panicking more and more. His stomach line is tearing apparently under all the stress that this is happening as he's being targeted with all this. So not going so well from all that. A few people, however, are sympathetic to Lloyd, saying like, man, it can't be easy for you to have him as a brother-in-law, referring to Yuri. And Yuri's like, it's not nice. And he ends up rushing to the phone and calling up Yor and being like, oh, you should come here. Everyone's
mean to me.
And she's apparently, busy at work. And he's like, I need you. So, more interrogation happens. Chloe is her name. Chloe, that's her name. She dives in and is just like, oh, what do you do for work? I'm a psychiatrist. How much do you earn per year? And they're like, well, damn, all right. But then the captain's like, show me how it's done. And he's like, hey, you ever take your wife out shopping? You ever take her out to eat? Yeah, sure. What place do you go to for food? And, there is, like they go into details on that and details on that. And, hammering him over with all these different things until eventually one of them just steps forward and is just like, hey, do you love your wife? And Lloyd's like, yes, yeah, I love her. And the guy's like, there's no deception in his eyes. I've got 13 years of experience in the service. He is not lying. Which, of course, could mean Lloyd's just that damn good at lying, of course. But it's a little bit ambiguous.
I do also like, though, that someone asked the question, do you love your wife? And he says yes. And he's like, I detect no deception. And I'm like, you don't want to interrogate a little bit more? You don't want to try more than one question before you've decided?
I'm a human lie detector. It's cool. It's fine.
I only need one. That's all I need.
And it gets to a point where everyone's just kind of like, Lloyd Forge is a good guy. Like he's dependable. He seems like he treats you well. He's financially stable. He's apparently got a good position in society. So they're like, yeah, we were, and they just come clean and just like, Yuri wanted just to make sure you were good enough for his sister. And yeah, you passed. Like everyone's taking a liking to you. We've been hearing him complain about you this whole time. We were kind of wondering like what kind of guy you were. And yeah, you pass. And so he's like, oh well, okay then. And of course he's relieved because he's like, oh good, I'm not under the suspicion of the entire Secret Services, basically. So, but he still realized like I still need to like keep my guard up though. These are still members of the secret police, so I can't.
Yeah, I could still be in a lot of trouble.
And a big thing that he realizes is because Yuri says that Yor is coming, she is going to come after work. And Lloyd realized, like, wait a minute, Captain Curtis is someone that I used as a disguise in front of Yor. And it was when I was investigating her. If she remembers that, she could ask questions, and then he'll realize that something is up, and then she might realize that something is up. And so he starts to freak out about that. And so he's like, I gotta, he tries to, like, make off to the bathroom. But then the door buzzes, and Yuri goes, Yor's here, hooray! As, again, Lloyd's stomach goes, argh! So he is not having a good time. He's not out of the situation yet.
There are still more shenanigans to be had. There's still more danger to escape from. But It's, an amusing enough chapter. I do like how by the end of it they're all like, "Oh no, you're a very normal guy." I
You're a
don't.
cool guy.
Yuri once again sucks. We all kind of assumed that was the case, but it came out that yeah, it's still true. He blows. Wrong on this one too.
Yep, we decided to give him the benefit of the doubt one time, and he made us all pay for it. So, yep.
Never again.
Yep, we're taking him out of all of the chat rooms. Okay.
He's been removed from all the group chats, especially the meme ones. Like, no!
I can't communicate via normal text. All right. Quinn, Class 2B Hero Destroyerz. Third period, Hero's Justice equals Demon King's evil less than need to poop. It's a formula, you see. Solved in math class.
I used that one a little bit in my math class last semester. They were like, solve this equation by poop. And I'm like, okay.
Solve for need to poop, yes. Yeah. Yep. So Kanda needs to go to the bathroom, but evil is coming up from, like the portal and stuff like that. And we find out that there are a whole bunch of roots coming out. The Demon King Castle's roots. We get this whole big explanation of there's this thing underneath the castle called the gas tree. And they're basically the division between the Demon King world and the mortal world is growing thin directly in this place. And so the tree connected to the fortress is reaching up towards the school and is going to pull the building down through the rift and merge it with the Demon King's castle. So that would be no good. But on top of that, a very creepy looking hero appears. He looks very like Conan the Destroyer. Big broad chin and like the headband, the metal protector and stuff.
He gives me a little bit of like a Dragon Quest vibe as well. The protagonist of the Dragon Quest games wear a lot of tunics with the big pauldrons and the like tiara bands. But I see Conan as well.
I'm sure it's not at all inspired by Dragon Quest, considering that the first chapter directly referenced Dragon Quest. Yeah. So. A couple of the teachers go out to confront this weird guy, and he just attacks them with his sword. So they fall over with neck wounds. And then he fucking loots their bodies because, heroes are psychos. And he just takes like a 10 yen coin off one of them and is like, what a strange metal. It is mine now.
I shall collect all of these.
So the Demon King goes out to confront the hero, uses some illusions in order to save the two teachers, and is like, it's kind of crazy that you're just randomly attacking innocent civilians. That's something that you heroes proclaim to do. And the hero just says, they dwell in this accursed world of darkness. They are surely just as evil as you. All right, I don't know if he's a nice person. That doesn't seem very cool at all. Eventually, Kama shows up on the scene after the illusions get used so that the hero can't attack. And then they run into each other. He's just really concerned with going to the bathroom because, of course, his attempt to go and take a shit was interrupted by all the roots appearing. So they're running around, dodging attacks. And he's like, hey, look, you just need to buy me some time so I can make my way over to that toilet that's lying over there, and then I can shit in it. Yep.
There's like a fundamental disconnect where I'm like, farts, crazy funny. Maybe one of the funniest things in the world. Pooping, not funny at all. I don't get it's not. I don't. Why would you go for that when farts are hysterical? Like you could be. I would be falling over the ground laughing if these were all fart jokes.
There honestly is like kind of some cool combat stuff that happens with Valaris here, where she's using her illusions in combination with real attacks. So like. She makes it seem like she's making a whole bunch of things fly towards the hero and then also just picks up a baseball bat and chucks it at his head amidst them. And it's like, all right, that's pretty cool. So, and then Kamba grabs the bat and smashes the guy and knocks him through the school gate. And he's like, I really need to take a shit. That's basically like what he says. He says it in much more fanciful terms where the point is that like he uses very, like fantasy battle proclamation stuff while talking about how he needs to take a shit. But that is what he does, is he says, stop it, I need to take a shit. Yeah. Okay, so we've reached 3 chapters of Hero Destroyerz, Quinn. What do you think?
I would like to not have to read it, Nick.
Okay, that's cool with me.
Cool. All right. I had to sit there. I was like, there's no Vito in the bank sitting floating around, is there?
Do I have to cash it in now?
If you want to deal maximum damage to Quinn, that would be the weak point to hit.
Yeah, I
A
mean,
long wordy comedy series that I don't enjoy.
there's I don't think that it is badly done. I just don't appreciate the jokes that are really being made. I think that there might have been one thing in this chapter that made me go, huh, and that was kind of it. And it seems like we're going to really be hammering this topic for the subject matter of like the majority of the jokes. So if you don't think that poop is funny, then you're kind of out of luck here. And neither of us really find it that funny. So yeah, we'll
Look,
see if we have to see this in the table of contents for a while after. Obviously, the author has a very big success under their belt already.
yeah. Yeah. It's no nice prison, but it's also no ping pong peril.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
But also because it's neither of those, it might be very successful.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Very, very, very possible. We have Hima-Ten, especially because it sounds like there might be a couple openings in the magazine coming up sometime soon.
Hima 89, Honoka and the study session. That's right. Honoka told Iemori in the last chapter, by the way, my parents aren't at home if you want to come over.
By the way, my parents aren't home if you want to go over and hang out, and they gave explicit permission that you could do that.
And maybe maybe I can give you like a shoulder rub while we're there, and maybe we can just like kind of like put on this
My
kind of like
mom,
90s
yeah.
R&B music. Like don't
I was gonna say
like
I'm gonna put on some Marvin Gaye. My mom says it's a great song to play with your male classmates.
we're just totally good buddies and
Yeah.
nothing else.
With your platonic friends, you just throw on a little "Let's Get It On."
And yeah, so Ymor is like, it's already almost evening. Won't you get in trouble if they find out? And I don't know, because like my mom's already okayed. she's but she's also like, we're not telling my dad, but my mom knows you, and she's like, she said that I would be safe around you. And Ymor is like, I don't. All right, that's kind of weird that your mom just said that, but okay. But Honoka says like, hey, look, there's a whole lot of things that I want to do, and so if you come with me, that means we could go over a lot of stuff together for your homework. Come on. So they do that, and of course, when they're on the train, they're very close to each other because it's a crowded train. Honoka is like, can I hold on to you? And Iemori is like, meanwhile, just fully in his own head. Like, it's not as if we're in a relationship. So her inviting me over really should be a big deal. But she's a nice girl. Maybe she just offered to tutor me out of the kindness of her heart. Because, this guy has had 3 girls throwing themselves at him for like almost a calendar year at this point, and he doesn't get it. So of course he's still this way.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Honoka invites Iemori in, and he pulls out all of his textbooks and stuff like that. And she's like, hey, I'm basically your in-home tutor, even though we're in my home. So, you can just ask me for help on anything. But Iemori's like, well, I really want to work on these myself right now. And then I'll just ask you if I have any problems. And so she's like, okay, I'll get some drinks. That leaves him alone in Honoka's bedroom. And he's like, what do I do? Like, we're alone in her bedroom. It's right after we had a date together. How is she not freaking out about this? Get a flashback from Honoka's perspective to the conversation she had with Himari about exchanging secrets and stuff like that, and how she just asked Himari straight up like, hey, what do you think about Himari? And Himari was like, I really like him. And then she's like, do you like him too? Yeah. So everything's out in the open between the two of them as far as feelings for Himari go. And Honoka basically has realized, like, look, these two have a very special relationship, and they are also on the verge of kind of like losing their relationship as it currently exists. So I don't want to take away from the time that they have together. So I'm not going to get in the way of that, except for today, because everyone in this series has to have very particular deadlines and boundaries about how they approach their relationships. They're very proper about everything when it comes to their own feelings. Homework progresses, tutoring progresses. Eventually, Imori is like, hey, why did you just go to this high school? And of course, it was because she wanted to be in the same school as him, but she doesn't say that. She's just like, oh, I just wanted to go to a normal school and stuff. But of course, then they're like, oh, but Kana and Himari are here, so it hasn't really been that normal. Blah, blah, blah. And then Himeno showed up and stuff. And Iamori just reflects on the fact that, like, because all those weird things have happened, it's kind of like put a barrier between the two of them. But he's like, but I still like her just as much as I did before. And he's like, I really want to be around her, and that's why I said yes to being here. Then he just like says of himself, I'm hopeless. He says that out loud because. So he realizes, like, I rejected Kana before when she was honest with me. So if I'm going to tell Honoka how I feel, then my confession needs to show her my feelings are stronger than Kana's were for me. Because that's how relationships work.
Yes.
Is that you need to pass a test for your... Look, it's not stupid that a 16-year-old, 17-year-old naively thinks this way. But there needs to be at some point someone who tells him, you don't understand how this works.
You seem to have a fundamental misunderstanding of things, and I believe that it is leading you down the wrong assumption with your friends.
Everyone, all these different like things that they're putting on themselves, like, well, I can only do it on this day, I can only do it for this long and stuff, and it's like, it's not a fucking like arbitrary test that you're taking. Jesus Christ. Honoka says, like, hey, if you're struggling with something, I'm here to watch over you. And just as Honoka is thinking, like, is she only talking about schoolwork? Honoka looks up at the clock, realizes it's gotten pretty late, and that her parents are going to be home soon. And of course, although they okay things with their mom, she didn't okay anything with her dad. So Iamori can't be here when they actually show up.
Yes.
So he gets all his stuff together. He starts to head out the door. And Honoka just thinks to herself, Iamori just thinks to himself, my crush asked me to come over. I can't believe the only thing I did was study. Yep. And as he heads out the door, Honoka starts to say something. She gets flustered, but then she says, hey, listen, I asked you to come over today because I wanted to give you this letter. But don't read it until the day before the trip.
Fuck off. I am so tired of these kids putting these stupid time contingencies on everything. I'll talk to you in a month. I'll make that deal then. Read this letter in like a fortnight from now. Like, it's like, just do it. Just rip open the letter right now in front of her.
This is why Kana was the best character in this whole Love Squares, because she actually did things.
Yeah, she was never like, actually, we'll deal with this in maybe like a week or so once you get back from your trip. Then we'll talk about our feelings. We'll just sit on this unknown quantity for, a week. I don't know. Maybe they do things different in Japan. Maybe they're a lot more into like the emotional edging of like a romantic invitation or something like that.
Kana was just fully like, hey, you liking that swimsuit album that I shot? You like looking at me in that swimsuit album?
Sure did. Yeah, don't have too many thoughts, but we're moving towards something. I assume it's a conclusion, but currently there's just 2 different time-based delays that Iamori has to confront eventually.
Yeah, you gotta, it's time management. We gotta like make sure that the cooldowns sync up so that you can hit your major combo on the boss right at the right time. Speaking of heading towards a conclusion, Kinato's Magic, Chapter 14, Village of the Majo Clan. Yeah, so remember, Kinato's got to go in the Majo Clan in order to learn proper mana control and stuff like that. Hey, remember when it looked like, like Zio and Lene might go with him? Nah, it's just Jien. That's all. We don't need anybody else to go on this trip. Just Jien and Kinato. There's a lot of barren wilderness and big old mountains and skulls on pikes and stuff like that they're passing by. But the main thing that we take away from this is that the air is filled with mana. But we get a flashback that shows that this is why Zio can't go, is that he's scheduled for something else. Freaking Talius and Juna show
also,
up and are like,
not a part of your guild. Why does he need to be on all these missions?
yeah. Talius and Juna show up and they're like, oh, it's so scary. The Module Clan will snatch you up and punish you. Be careful. And then they ask for souvenirs.
This is legitimately a very funny joke. I did get a good laugh out of it. Like, you'll never survive this place. You'll die. But if you do, bring me back something sweet.
Yes. And then Lene comes over and is like, I'm worried. Maybe I should come along. And Kinato says, no, it'd be way too dangerous with you there, Lene. Damn it.
In my mind, I was like,
it's an all-women clan. Come on.
I'm still in full copium. I'm like, nah, Lene's going to show up. This was like a tease, so she'll show up down the line, and it's going to make a ton of sense.
Kinato is like, well, what if something happens to you? And so then Lene just like goes, fine, then I won't go no matter what. Forget about it. Sorry for asking. And so, yeah, I guess this is the kind of relationship that Kinato and Lene have now, which it really didn't seem like it was going to be in the first several chapters of this series, but I guess it is.
Yeah.
One of the Module Clan shows up while Jien and Kinato are kind of camping. They get the drop on them. They're kind of doing the walking on walls thing and stuff. Jien is recognized as the criminal Jien, and so the Module Clan member attacks immediately. Kinato is like, Jien, I thought you said that you were friends with the Module Clan. And Jien's like, yeah, it is kind of weird that we're like this. All right, we just got to run to the village now before we get stopped. The Module Clan member blows a whistle. A whole bunch of people show up on dragons and quickly capture them. And they are escorted to Sky Dragon, the Module Clan's village. They are put together in front of, everybody. Everyone says, they need to be punished and purged. And Kinato is like, Jien, I thought you were friends with everyone. What the hell? This isn't like you said it was going to be. Captains of the East and West Guard are introduced. Latna and Karyu for the West and the East. And they're like, we are on edge, as is our chief. And the chief lurks in the background. Their entire appearance is cloaked and covered in mask and stuff like that. But they say look, we're on the edge right now. And the fact that you come here means that you must want that boy to learn Majo techniques. Look, that's out of the question. Right, go home before you get yourself killed. You can't just learn this stuff in a day or whatever.
Yeah.
Then it turns out that Jien showed up some time ago saying he wanted to train, and he basically just was a menace.
Just goofed off, yeah.
Ate a bunch, slept whatever he pleases, stuff like that. And they're like, if it weren't for the clan chief being merciful, we would have killed him back then. And then they say yeah, men kind of we don't like them because they just do whatever they please. And Jien's like, I thought they liked me.
Again, a legitimately very funny moment when he's like, I really thought they'd welcome me here. I had zero self-awareness of how I'm perceived by certain groups. I really thought they loved me.
Oh, man. Then Karyu starts to escort Kinato out, just picks him up by the scruff of his cloak and is going to carry him out. And then he's like, hey, can I ask you something? Do you have stiffness in your shoulders or lower back right now? And they're like, that's silly. Lady Karyu is always in tip-top shape. That's silly. Ha. And Karyu looks down on Kinato and is like, oh, really? You're going to give me help? Uh-huh. All right, sure. Go ahead. But if you make an attempt and you don't change anything, I am going to beat the shit out of you. So Kinato uses his Seitai magic and, well, it does something to her. Yep. So that's where the chapter ends, is on a big old Shokugeki no Soma moment as she gets adjusted.
I should have known something was going to be up when he specifically mentioned that her pelvis needed to be realigned. I should have had warning flags pop up at that point. But I was enjoying this chapter so much to this point. It was the moment of Kanato's magic is definitely ending, but at least it's going out reminding us why it was so good and being so funny. And then the last page, I'm like, well, okay then. So a real downswing of momentum.
And again, why are you doing this now? Like, come on. Grab for viewers like this in chapter 1. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's those times where you're like, well, I've already been told the series is ending. The shackles are off. I'm just going to do whatever. Or maybe this is like the opportunity to try things to see if it gets them maybe more popular and they could take that feedback into their next attempt. I don't know.
I guess.
Regardless, it's a strange ending to a chapter that I otherwise thought was pretty funny.
It moved along at a good clip. There were a couple of nice jokes in it. And we are out of the village where nothing was happening.
Yes.
Even though a whole bunch of stuff was happening. So, yes, this is definitely an improvement over the previous arc already, even if it ends the chapter on that weird note.
Someone hurts.
All right. Someone out there hurts. Chapter number 32. It's all right.
Not this guy, right?
I hope he doesn't hurt
Okay.
right now.
Nah, he's doing
It's hard to tell with kitties sometimes.
He's doing great.
Sometimes they're, yeah. Because sometimes cats will make a big deal out of every little tiny thing. It's like, oh, I hurt my paw a tiny little bit, but then you'll see them and you'll be like, when the hell did you get this giant scratch over your eye, buddy? What happened? You're missing hair here. And he's just like, what? What's the problem? Pet me, feed me, clean my poop. All right. The Long Hopes live show is starting. They're referring to it as a talking arena concert, which it's a talk show. It's a live talk show. It's a podcast. You're doing a live recording of the podcast. Okay, fine. We see, of course, Mizuo and MMA in the bleachers, and they have really good seats. They're very close to the stage. Mizuo refers to them as chupacabra seats. And Mime's like, you mean super ringside seats? This guy is really good on the uptake. Some of the weird things that she comes up with. Mime pays a little bit of attention to a couple that are next to them. There is a guy with long hair and a girl with glasses perched on her head, and the girl has a prize keychain. And Mime, in a typical awkward Mime moment, is like, oh, they are a serious listener, so I will also show that I have my keychain in a little show of camaraderie. And it's like, they're watching the show. You're not paying attention to you. Stop it. We get blasts of the show that gets put on. There are little segments that they do with messing around with food, the way that a lot of comedy duos do stuff. They shoot out prizes from t-shirt cannons and stuff, and then they do the one-liner corner, which they do every week as well, because they are only doing stuff specifically for the event. There's fewer that they do than normal. Mizuo gets one named. Hooray! Yo Potatoes joke in response to the radio exercise program in our region is kind of weird. She said, sometimes the veterans come to watch. That is a little weird. I don't know if that's funny, but it is that'd be weird. Yes, it put a weird image in my head at least. And there are people who actually kind of whisper a bit about oh, I wonder if Yo Potato is here. You think that Yo Potato is here? Yeah. And Mizuo gets a little bit flustered, and she goes, everyone's gossiping about me. I wonder if I'm going to sneeze. And Mime's like, it's usually the other way around. Battle Chimney gets one read out as well. And then we get Noise-Canceling Junkies entry. The radio exercise program in our region is kind of weird. They do some squats to FM radio, and that's it. Is that a joke? Again, some of these one-liners. But the girl with the glasses sitting next to Mime, she goes, yes. And so Mime's like, oh, I wonder then if she's noise cancel, if that's her entry then. But that wraps up the everything. Mime's a little bit upset that one of his submissions did not get read, so he is still, kind of not doing great this season thus far. But we get an announcement that says hey, remember everyone, it's almost time for this season's you know what. So be sure to send in plenty of submissions. And then they say goodbye to everyone, and then they're like, see you again at 3 a.m. which is so wild. Mizuho and Mimei both have a little moment where some of the confetti that they drop sticks to them, and just a little moment between the two. They start to go out.
I just think it's cute that he like picks up a piece of it and he's like, I'm gonna keep this. This is like a little memento for me. Yeah, he's starting up a trash journal.
Yeah. As they head out, so Mizuho gets some merch because she got her entry read on for the show, and she says a line that I think is way funnier than almost any one-liner submission that has actually been officially in this series, where she says, "We better zip home before there's too long a LAN." So just for some reason, she just like drops a couple of computer terms when talking about like queuing for stuff, and it's like those are both way funnier than what is this thing about like they do squats to FM radio?
Look, if there's a joke that's not funny in Someone Hurts, I just write it off to like it makes sense in Japanese. I bet it's really funny in Japanese, and I don't get it, and I just let it be. My life's so much simpler that way now.
Mizuho's merch, turns out, was a big old sticker. So, ain't that nice?
Aw.
Mimei spots the girl from before and is like, oh, yeah, that's the submitters. And so he just goes over and is like, hey, by the way, are you noise cancel? Was that your entry that got read out? And she's like, oh, you guys were sitting next to us. Right. I'm not noise cancel. My on-air name is Do Gummies Count as Snacks? Which is a great name.
What kind of gummies we talking about, girl?
Yeah. Maybe there's a reason she's making the expression she is.
That is a real world where there's somebody who just does a crap ton of edibles and then just sends in a bunch of jokes to a 3 a.m. podcast. Like, that's just their milieu.
Well, that explains why this person listens to this show.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other 1,000 of you.
I don't know why the grade schoolers are listening to it, but...
Turns out, noise-canceling headphones is actually the guy that was with her, the long-haired guy. And so, yeah, noise-canceling junkie is like, hey, yeah, I got that prize. Did you want this sticker that I got for my submission? And Mimei's like, well, what? And he's like, yeah, you wanted one, didn't you? And he's like, I mean, that's yours. That's like to commemorate your joke getting read at the event. And he's like, oh, well, I mean, like, I don't really care about Monmid. I just, this one just kind of like nagged me until, like I went to it with her. And Mimei thinks, what's with this guy? And Mizuho says aloud, what's with this guy? Just really loudly. Gummy bops him on the head and introduces him as Ray-chan and says like, hey, yeah, he's kind of rude, sorry about that. And then the two of them kind of get into a little bit of an argument because she's like, stop, don't call me that, don't hit me and all that. And so then Mizuho is like, oh, sorry, I'm Kurage, this is Mei-chan. She's just like following the example for no reason with Mimei, and Mimei's like, why are you talking about me like that? Ray introduces himself fully as Reiji Takayama. Gummy is Mokomo Watanuki. And so they're like, all right, we've properly introduced ourselves now and stuff. Mizuho introduces herself as Potato. Mei is out in the woods. Gummy's really excited about them because she's like, oh, I've heard some entries from both you guys. Like, I've heard some of your stuff even, Owl. And but then Mimei is just kind of focused on Reiji, which is like, why are you submitting jokes if you're not into this show? And Reiji just says, no real reason. I'm going along with it because this girl is really a big fan of this show. And Reiji says, well, he wants to work in media in the future. So he's trying to be the best in a bunch of things and is like padding out his resume and stuff. And then she's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have told you that very personal information.
Oops, maybe I wasn't supposed to just reveal that to somebody.
But Reiji says, with today's joke, I've got 5 points, so I'm in range now. So I figured I'd try to win the listener quotient. And May's like, he just started this season.
You can't just win the Kiyoshi if you don't care. It's about the respect. It's about the honor of it.
The love of the game. Come on, man. And Mimei says, well, I really like Monmid, so I can't afford to lose. And Reiji says, "What would you do if you got invested in one thing and lost? You couldn't keep happily listening to the same program where you suffered defeat, could you?" And we get a little visual of that thing that Mimei shared with Mizuo in the previous chapter, which was like, hey, there was a time when pressure really got to him and it really kind of took him out until Mon-Mid kind of helped him out of that hole. And Mizuo gets pissed on Mimei's behalf, starts to say something, but Mimei just says like, no, it's fine. My attachment to this show isn't weak enough that I would hate it for something as small as that. And so, Reiji starts to be like picking a fight with him because he's a jerk, basically. Like, there is no reason to be
just like, he cares about two things, writing jokes and being antagonistic. And you know what? I've met people like that. So, you know what? Fine.
Yes. Fortunately, Mizuo is really hungry. Her stomach starts making noise. And I really love this exchange that they have because, Mizuo is like, I've got a crab in my tummy. And Mimei's like, it's going to come out if you're getting crabby. Hey,
Ba-dum-bum-bum.
And yeah, so they go back and forth a little bit. And Mizuo says like, do you have any snacks? The one that hurls abuse at the people buying it. It's like, what is so weird? And Reiji is like, you stay out of this. Like, she's talking to her friend. You're the weird one here, picking fights with strangers for an event that you don't care about.
Yeah, like you could not give less of a shit about any of the circumstance going on. And these are two people who just wanted to be like, oh, hey, it was like cool sitting next to you. I think I recognized your name. And you're like, no, we're going to have a fight now. Like, wild stuff.
So Gummy eventually just kind of like, you're being rude, say you're sorry, and then drags him away by his coat. Afterwards, Mimei talks to Mizuo and says like, I wonder if I spoke too boldly. He's like, of course you think that, you sweet child, you. But Mizuo says, hey, it's all right. Like you said, I think you were pretty cool today. Aw. And then she's like, guys who let their actions do the talking are cool. And Mimei's like, I was just saying things, though. I wasn't speaking with my actions. So, it's funny. Turns out, though, the big you-know-what that they were alluding to at the end of the show was the rookie round, the competition that only listeners with 5 points or less can enter. And Mimei says, I'm going to win the rookie round. Okay. Seems like a very odd addition to all of this, like, listener submission stuff. I guess Mimei needs a win, though.
I was going to say, we can't just have the listener Kiyoshi because, one, logically, there is meant to be a very long time gap between them, so there would just be, like, months and months of this manga that wouldn't be dealing with anything of, like, real consequence. And also, like, Mimei needs a win, and we're able to introduce more people around his level, so he doesn't have to be going up against all these, like, I'm about to say heavy hitters, but, like, this is a 3 a.m. podcast that has listener submissions, so, like, I guess whatever context you need that in. I do think it is very funny, though, because this does feel like something absolutely constructed after they realize, like, oh, hey, this series it's stupid popular. We need to keep this going for a while. So we need something else for our characters to be interested in until the next listener Kiyoshi. Boom. The rookie round. This is like some fucking Akane-banashi like storyline, but I guess this 3 a.m. podcast just has multiple levels of competition in it.
Reiji, I feel feels like he's just programmed to just be a jerk, which is very weird. But Mokumo, I do actually kind of like her weird personality.
Yeah.
And I wonder if she'll play a role within the rookie round, considering it seems as though Reiji is far ahead of her in terms of success rate of his jokes getting read off on the air.
They say that he has 5 points, and 5 points or less is the qualifier for the rookie round. So he can be in it, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's also in it as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we shall see. I thought it was an amusing enough chapter, though. It's good stuff. Good new characters.
Yeah. We got a color front page for Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, Chapter 91, Final Showdown in the Demon Realm. You could like shred cheese with this man's abs. Jesus Christ.
Honestly, there was like a moment where I don't know. I guess the way it was like lit and the silhouette made me think. I was like, has Kiyoshi been doing steroids? He seems so much more buff than usual. And it just took me a moment to be like, no, his shirt's just like opened up to make it look like he has shoulders.
Yep. So Helzabobo has called in all of their remaining loans in order to sacrifice their extra lives and instead boost their power by 5 times. And Kiyoshi quickly analyzes that he is on par with Astaroth and then strikes that and is like, no, it's actually even higher. And an aura in the shape of a skull appears around him, which means it's really cool. Shishido warns him, like, you are going to die. And Bobo is like, what are you, my mother? Who's dead? And then he says, weakness is bad. Right, Kiyoshi Harai? And in the middle of that, he dashes in to stab this lance of black energy into Kiyoshi, who is just able to raise a shield in time to block it. And then the lance explodes with dark energy, which knocks aside all of Kiyoshi's companions. The two of them exchange punches that clash directly against each other, and Kiyoshi is quickly overwhelmed by Bobo's power. Knocks him through a big old wall. Kiyoshi tries to use Deucalion, his big finisher from before, and Bobo just fully tanks it. And then strikes back with his own 5-pointed blast. Kiyoshi concentrates his Exorcist power into a concentrated star, which Bobo recognizes as the technique that exorcised Roth. And Bobo says, very good. A fitting way to end this. Bring it! And the two charge towards each other. Kiyoshi unleashes his Nova Stella. Bobo counters by just punching it with his Black Lightning Diamond Fist. And there's a huge explosion. When the smoke clears, Kiyoshi is on his back, bleeding and beaten. And Bobo is declaring, I beat Kiyoshi Harai! You qualify for the coffin, you're mine! He ain't dead, though.
No. That was it. And that's it for Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi. Kiyoshi's in a coffin.
Wow. Yeah, we really thought that it was going to be like Hima-Ten that might end next. So no.
Yeah, those numbers for Kiyoshi weren't doing so great, so they killed him.
Yeah. Kiyoshi gets picked up by Bobo. And he's like, you're still breathing. I want him displayed with a more despairing look on his face. I know. I'll kill all the other demons first, and when he wakes up, he'll despair at having lost everything. It's your fault for being weak. And Sosuke can't believe it. He can't believe that Kiyoshi has lost. As Bobo starts calling forth a bunch more magic. He's going to unleash a giant blast of black lightning. Sosuke calls over to Kiyoshi and says, what are you doing? How could you lose? You're the ultimate exorcist. Wake up, Kiyoshi Harai. And suddenly, an aura of energy starts burning around Kiyoshi. And in the moment where Bobo has flown up in order to unleash his attack and start raining terror and death down on people, Mr. Yamada comes rushing in to give power to the spirit bomb. And he loans Kiyoshi some of his power along with all the low-level demons as the flaming aura that surrounds Kiyoshi grows wider and wider.
Yeah. I really like this. I think it's, it was very surprising for them to do a big clash attack and Kiyoshi to lose. It already kind of establishes this idea that even though Kiyoshi is the ultimate exorcist, there is a limit to it. He can be surpassed. In addition, I really enjoy that the way that this fight continues is not because Kiyoshi just heard, like, you should get up, and he's like, you're right, I should get stronger. It does. I really like that there's an actual reason that all the demons are showing up and they're giving their energy to Kiyoshi because even though they're low-level demons, he has done everything to protect them, and they will give everything they can to help him get back into the fight. I think it's a much better way to kind of establish the second wind.
Yeah, And also, I mean, like, it is a theme that has very consistently been pushed throughout this story arc of, not mistreating people just because they're weaker.
Mhm.
From the very first time that they showed up in the demon realm when Kiyoshi helped out that low level demon kid who was, like gonna get killed essentially for just crossing in front of a stronger demon's path. We have constantly gone back to this point of, the way that stronger demons treat weaker demons. And now, seemingly, the tool of Bobo's defeat is going to be that these weak demons shared their power with Kiyoshi, and that was enough to give him the strength to defeat him.
Yeah.
So, sometimes the very obvious thing in a shonen action series is the most satisfying thing to do. So just do it.
And it's a fun, maybe not reflection, but it's got a fun connection to Bobo's power of lending power and then taking it back like 100-fold or whatever the thing was.
Mm-hmm.
Here now they're willingly giving their power over to Kiyoshi.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Marriagetoxin. It's monkey time.
Yeah, it's 164 chapters. A few minutes ago, we thought that the whole thing was okay.
We're all done. The story has a happy ending.
Toshiro and Byako are making their way through the facility, and Toshiro says, like, hey, Byako, look, I know I put you through the ringer, but that ends here. From now on, you can go and live as you want. Basically, he's just going to be like, you don't have to serve me anymore, essentially. And Byako says, like, you're not being yourself right now. And Toshiro's like, shut up! And he realizes that Garo and his unerring kindness have started to rub off on him. But before they can get away, so I didn't see this coming. So the monkey guy, what is his name? Tokuro? Because they all have very similar structures to their names. I'm
trying to see if I can
Monkey
find
guy.
it, but it's not an air monkey dude.
Yeah. So he hunches over in their path. He's bleeding and beaten. And Toshiro's like, I really thought that I beat this guy, but okay. So, but he tries to tell Byako to get back because he's like, this guy is desperate, so he might be dangerous. And all of a sudden, Byako chops Toshiro in the back of the neck and knocks him unconscious. And yeah, so Tokuro says, like, that's it. There we go. And Byako mentally apologizes to Toshiro and thinks to herself, an extremely powerful bomb has been implanted deep within me, and if it's detonated, even you wouldn't come out unscathed. Gasp! So Tokuro says, like, yes, the battle was settled before it even started. He calls Byako over. Byako looks over at Toshiro with worry, and Tokuro says, don't worry, I'll spare his life as long as you follow my orders. And he leads her to giant tank where this massive, multi-eyed, kind of bat-like creature is dwelling. And Tokuro thinks to himself that the Byako that Toshiro created out of the third-rate sub-branch family beasts was not but a sham. This, on the other hand, is made from beasts closer to the main bloodline. This is the ultimate true Byako. The amalgamation of multiple beasts into this single entity causes their consciousness to grapple for control. On its own, it wouldn't be able to move properly. But by making use of this girl's ability to control a beast's skin, those conflicting consciousnesses can be unified. And of course, he's thinking to himself, I mean, she's going to die when that happens. She'll meld with the creature and never be able to go back to being a human. Go in the tank, and he shoves her over the guardrail. The massive Byako bursts out of the tank, commanded to crush everyone. It starts smashing through the prison. Looks like it gobbles up quite a few of the prisoners as it does so. And Tokuro thinks to himself, it's turning out just like he said. Every last bit of it. Of course, he was the one that Nasu went to with a plan. If there was going to be anyone that was, getting manipulated in all of this, it couldn't be Toniko because, she's got all that trauma and hates Nasu. Wouldn't be her that he would manipulate. This guy, yeah, he sucks. So, of course. Bunch of the monkeys that he commands latch onto his shirt and start screeching at him. So he
It's
stomps on them.
sad. He stomps on the monkeys, Nick.
It's just cause. And he realizes, like, this is my chance. Toniko and Shichiro are out of commission. This is my opportunity. I've got the Beast Byakko. I can propel myself to the top of the Beast clan. And then he thinks of his brother, who is, lying broken and beaten while, like, the hallway starts to flood because they're causing rampage in this underwater facility. And Tokuro says, before you take your final breath, I might still be able to show you the glorious sight of your big brother taking the world into his hands. And then he gets stabbed through the fucking ribs from behind and blood goes everywhere. And Toshiro used the very bat-like technique of just jamming his hand through his back.
Hand through the fucking torso.
Yep. And so Tokuro's like, you turned traitor on us, you filthy monkeys, and he falls over, presumably dead. Like,
you'd like to hope.
Marriagetoxin is kind of an insane series, but it's very hard to survive having a giant hole in your torso. Toshiro cricks his neck and says, such a pain in the neck. Because he got chopped in the neck. Goes after the giant Byakko, who is also his Byakko, and says, Byakko, if you're going to knock my lights out, do it better, will ya? Byakko realizes that Toshiro is approaching. She can no longer go back to being a human, and so she mentally begs, please, before I hurt you, please put me out of... And Toshiro laughs, kicks her in the face, and says, spare me the modesty. You and I go way back. I'll beat you down to a spectacular death myself. And that's where our chapter ends.
Yep. I don't suspect we're going to get actually like the concern right there is like, oh no, is he gonna have to kill Byakko? And I can't imagine that being the conclusion here. This is a series that generally tries to go out of its way to give happy endings outside of, like, I don't know, the two, like, 130-year-old people. And even then, they still got to, like, die doing what they loved. So I expect things will probably be okay for Byakko. But I do enjoy a little drama about it. And it's a nice way to reorient to a new conclusion, a new dangerous antagonist after we kind of had everything with Tamako go down and be like, oh, well, she's not actually that bad after all once you kind of get to it. Not like that dickhead monkey user.
He stomped his own monkeys. What the hell?
Yeah, you're not even a monkey user anymore. You're just a user.
Yeah. I do definitely see your point. If you are remotely good aligned in the world of Marriagetoxin, things tend to work out for you. Yeah. Even that one taxi driver who looked like he died. Nope. He got to go and see his son, the baker, and everything was okay for him. So, I think that the only real body count is like people who are very, very advanced in age, basically. Everyone else who dies is just a massive dickhead.
Yeah.
But we'll see how things turn out in this story. And what's going to happen if Gero's group is actually involved in, like, the whole conflict, the fight, or if they're just like, well, the facility is collapsing, let's get out of here. Probably not. I don't think that they would really do that, but we'll see.
Now, on the topic of big, huge dickheads, Nick, new Exorcist!
Chapter 144, Stagnation at the Root. So Kasha has an offer for Gekka, which is like, hey, I won't kill you, and I won't kill the boy. Be my pawn. You're very strong. I want you on my team. What do you say? Gekka says, no. Kasha says, okay, then die. I'm glad we had all that build-up.
Yeah, right?
Just immediately resolve it. He goes to slash with his sword. Gakuro appears out of his shadow and blocks it. And Kasha's like, I don't need you. You suck. You're a really big failure. I don't want you. And Gakuro's like, what are you talking about? And Kasha's like, you didn't know? We have met once before. In the depths of the Fujino estate, at the deepest point of the Fujino estate, is its ruler, who has been alive since antiquity. That's me. I created the Fujino family 1,000 years ago. A ruined noble unwittingly strayed into the space in which I'd been sealed. That was the beginning. And Gakuro's like, but you're a Hyo, and exorcists fight Hyo, and the Fujino family is made of exorcists. Like, why would you control the Fujino family? And Kasha says, because I realized how clever humans can be when they unite, the unique natures and abilities of each individual, the fact that a group's strength can multiply many times over by the way those individuals are distributed. One mustn't underestimate humans. I learned as much on the day I was sealed, and I decided to use them myself, and I have been pulling the strings. That is how the Fujino family came to be. And Gakuro thinks about the detail we haven't talked about since that whole arc came up, where they rescued Shiroha, where there were, giant rooms full of children who had to fight to the death. And Gakuro goes, so it was you, that place, that hell, you made that.
And
why do you do that?
They're going real hard to try to make Gakuro scary, and it's so hard because he's always a dork. Like, even when he's being serious in my mind, he still talks the same way. So it's like the idea that he's like trying to be like really serious while staring at you is just like, I don't know, it's amusing to me. Like, I don't know, dog.
Also, the fact that he's like, why would you do that? It's like, I understand the idea is that he is in shock over all the horrors and stuff, and it's like, well, dude, this should like explain everything to you.
Yeah.
Like, the one responsible for all of that horrible, pointless death was a Hyo.
Yeah.
Like, now
makes
it should
sense.
make sense to you. Like, he's not a human. Like, so Kasha says his goal is to reorder the world so the spirits are the dominant force. He says, once I leave this town, I will thin out the planet's human population in order to control all humans, just like I did with the Fujino family. So Gakuro goes to attack him. Kasha fucking kicks his sword arm down, which is actually really badass. He's like, no, just blocks him by kicking his arm. And Gakuro says, there's no place for you in this world. Yeah, got him. So Kasha says,
he says as the dude's holding his sword arm with just his foot.
Maybe I should try switching hands, but that would be really hard right now.
You'll get yours! No fair!
Hold on. Stop kicking my arm so that I can dash around behind you and attack you from behind, please. So Kasha says, hey, I'm talking about coexisting with humans, but humans are the only beings you'll allow, huh? All right.
He's like, got you. Like some real, like, you say you don't like society, but you live in one. You're the real monster here.
Oh, I see. I killed thousands of children, and I'm the monster, but you will let my kind live.
He's like, but he's gonna let Nue live, I believe.
He starts to get all philosophical and say, I'm just doing to humans what humans do to dogs and pigs. I domesticate them for a purpose. Humans are no different to me than animals are to you. Human nature is malleable, so I'll just keep manipulating you. And I'll just have to occasionally cull the occasional outlier like you. He goes to attack Gakuro, who sidesteps, and he says, quit talking! You're nothing but our enemy! All right, he didn't, whatever. So Kasha says, keep crying like an animal. And Gakuro says, I told you to shut up. Shut up, meanie.
You jerk. That showed him.
Gakuro says, we're not strong creatures, but we can get up as often as it takes. We're able to struggle. Even if there's sadness in our past, even if we're restrained now, even if we live through our days in resignation, the heart that lies deep inside will never go away. And during all this, who should he be thinking of, Quinn? But the character who's not important enough to actually be here, for the climactic battle against the person who is responsible for the curse of her existence, who is responsible for every misery in her life. Why isn't Shiroha here? What is going on?
There's a lot of this going on where I'm like, why are we getting all this dialogue in a fight that I assume is going to get interrupted? Or are we just ending one fight and then immediately beginning the next giant fight against Hyo? And this is the actual final fight against Kasha, whatever his name is. Like...
So Gakko also talks about how, like, we've got courage. Humans are warriors. You'll never control us. I feel like Kasha should just say, like, I have been for thousands of years. Again, the whole family has been. Anyway, Gekka hears all this, and she's, like, all smiling and stuff because he's saying the right things, that Gakuro. But Kasha says, I call the ones you describe outliers. I will research them and weed them out. And he goes to attack Gakuro again, and Gakuro deflects it with his sword. Not only does he deflect it, but he creates an opening because Kasha tries to use his chompy chomp sword thing, and Gakuro dodges it, and then he stabs straight through Kasha's torso. And Kasha goes, "What is this? A moment ago, he had no command energy to speak of. Now, though..." And then he goes, "You've grown." Yes, he grew. He gets 3 new forms in every fight. He grew. We get it.
Yeah, he's a lot stronger now. I don't know if he's visually supposed to look different. He just looks dumb, but that's usually par for the course. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's killing him here. I truly have no idea. The pacing has been so wild for this series recently that I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's wrapping up. Maybe it's like, all right, well, we've told enough stories. Let's take out the rest of these Hyo and get on out of here. But I think more than anything, it's just not. You know, I don't.
Good.
Nick, I don't want to say that New Exorcist isn't well written, but like. Actually, yeah, I guess that's actually the way I wanted to phrase it. Not well written is how I'd probably describe it.
Oh man. Okay, Akane-banashi.
Yeah, God of Death. God of Death.
I'm so tired after New Exorcist.
Only one more, Nick. Only one more.
Story 205, almost like the old.
And if you get bored, you can make a paper doll of Akane where you can make her shirt a raccoon.
It's very silly because there is like, yes, there's the cover page is like a paper doll thing where it's like, oh, you can cut out, this paper Akane and all of her clothes and stuff. And one of them is a tanuki.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean her tanuki onesie? No, a tanuki.
Nope. You just to make sure you can include with the paper doll a paper tanuki. Yeah.
Admittedly, there is also like a sign for her, like advertising her Rakugo thing. So not all of it is like clothes, but it is really weird to see like clothes, tanuki.
Oh, in my mind, because I'm like, yeah, the tanuki would make a pretty good shoe, I guess. Yeah.
We start this chapter with an announcement of the conditions that the cruise ship is experiencing. Remember, this whole Isho Kai thing is taking place on a fucking cruise ship. And the wind has reached 28 knots. Waves are 5 meters high. So very choppy weather, and lightning is crackling outside and stuff. Meanwhile, Akane is performing her story of the God of Death, with the God of Death having just approached the man over, hey, you have really been enjoying yourself, haven't you? And you spent all that hard-earned money. You've been blinded by the glamour of it, and you messed with the God of Death that was at the head of the patient. And the man is kind of smug at first, and he's just like, well, yeah, it's obvious, right? Like, all I have to do is spin the bed around and clap my hands while the God of Death is at the foot of the bed. And then I can just cure any illness. I can make as much money as I want. And you know what? Hey, tell you what, I'll give you some money. I broke my promise to you not to do that. So here, have some money. And then just forgive my transgression. And he tries to clap his hands and dismiss the God of Death. And the God of Death says, you don't understand a thing. It's not illness. It's lifespan you're meddling with. The lifespan of another is a heavy thing. What makes a mortal man so great is to toy with it. And Of course, everyone had all sorts of different reactions to the God of Death. Like, some thought it was off-putting, some thought it was amusing, some thought it was kind of cute. And now everyone is like, oh, I don't like this in the audience. And the God of Death extends the stick forward and says, grab onto this. And the man tries to say, I'm scared, grab it. And so the man grabs the stick and is pulled deeper into the abyss of the story. And now the little God of Death is not looking quite so little anymore. Still looking very cartoonishly silly, though. Iken is watching everything and thinks to himself, I wonder how many people actually recognize the eeriness that is unfolding here. At that moment, there is an announcement over the intercom that says, due to stormy weather, the ship may experience significant rolling. They say it won't affect the safety of the voyage, but watch your step, make use of handrails. And meanwhile, everyone in the theater is just captivated by Akane's story as she says, look at all those candles. We got a big thing, of course, about this with Shigena's art, that, you know, there was like a fire scare and nobody left for it because they were too captivated by the story. So Iken realizes, like, this is almost like the old Shigema Arakawa, where the presence of the God of Death is so keen that it's hitting on a different level. And Isho, at the same time, is watching things, and he has a flashback to when he was a young Rakugoka talking with Shigema, and says, you've been playing that God of Death a lot lately, and Master tells you to brush up on it in order to learn that one story. And Shigema says, I'll let you in on a little secret. The God of Death is a representation of death itself. So the point is, what's Master asking us through the medium of God of Death? And Isho considers what Akane had asked him before, and he thinks, what is your answer, Akane Arakawa? What is death to you? And in this moment, within Akane's story, it's not the man who is in the cave with the God of Death, but her looking into its eyes.
Indeed. It's really good. It's a really, really good continuation. I like how they're executing the kind of move into the very serious side of this. And I want to see what Akane's views of death are. What does it mean to her?
Yeah. We don't know of anyone like significant to Akane's life that has actually died. So it's going to be interesting to see like what she actually ties it to.
She's also very much more aware of it because of Shigema's condition.
Condition. Also, like, there's, like the fact that, the Rakugoka Shinta Arakawa died, with her dad's career being snuffed out. So maybe it'll be linked to that somehow.
Yeah, very, very possible. All right, let's move on and let's wrap up this week of manga by talking about One Piece chapter 1182, Zaza. And we opened the chapter kind of continuing where we left last time, where Imu had been kind of hit by this big attack and smiling like, you're still here. And we continue that with him referring to Ragnir, a.k.a. the squirrel fruit, mythical type, model, ice squirrel, Radagast. So the hammer ate the Radagast fruit and apparently has been around since Imu's time, because he says, to think I would see thee again in this world, traitor.
It's funny that he is squaring off against, the giant son of the giant that he tried to enslave, who is currently a massive fucking dragon who blasts him into the wall. And he's just going like, so there you are, squirrel.
I knew I recognized that squirrel. They get into a big fight that basically becomes a little bit of like a Star Fox 64 map for a little bit. There's just a lot of like explosions and visual effects going on, as it looks like that fight's just going to be kind of off over there for the moment. We cut over.
What's your favorite Star Fox 64 level, Quinn?
Great question. Great question. I right now am going to say I enjoyed the one where you had to like defend. I can't remember what the name of the base was, but you had to defend it. And I believe that's the one where like the one guy shows up.
So there's a couple of bases that you defend is it the snow planet where Star Wolf shows up?
No,
is it
it's
the one with Bill and the giant
Bill
ID4 reference.
Yeah, I believe it's that one.
That's a great one. Very frustrating to play though, because it's so easy to just like, not get credit for ships being shot down.
Yeah, it is very difficult. But I remember that being one where there's a lot of brand, because that's one specifically where if you lose, you go one way. If you win, you go the other.
Yeah. I would say the mine is probably Macbeth, the train stage.
The train one is a good one. I was thinking that in the last moment, but then I remembered how hard it was to switch the tracks.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure it out, but it's so satisfying when you do it.
Yeah. So we cut over to Bonnie, who is climbing up on a tree to look and see where things are going, and Vegapunk, Lilith, who is like, hey, don't, go up there. And she's like, I'm not going to get into a fight. But Lilith is like, of course not. I'm your guardian now. I'd never let you do such a thing. But she also notes, she's like, hey, who was that? Basically referring to Killingham, as they are over Sanji, who is kind of down on the ground at this point. Or she might be referring to Emu, because she says he's clearly superior to the Holy Knights of God.
I am? No, not you.
No, not you. But we see Sanji start to get up, and Bonnie's like, hey, don't, you're too hurt. And he says, there's no other choice for me, Bonnie. And he thinks back to just a moment ago when he got knocked to the ground and Killingham passed by, and he said, oh, wow, this is convenient. I don't even need to take you out myself, though it's incredible you're even alive right now. And Sanji asks where he's going, and Killingham just says, back to my mission. You see my rippling strength? And he basically, like, jettisons off, and like the shock of him doing that just also hit Sanji a little bit. So real douchey move. And Sanji just says, look, he still hasn't given up on kidnapping those children, and I can't let all of our battles be for nothing. This is the land that Luffy and Usopp have been dreaming about. I'm going to keep it safe. And he says that as he launches into the air. He says another line afterwards, but it's not as important. He's a flirt. Let's say that. Cut over to the Owl Library, and hey, Nick, good thing they didn't burn all the books. There's a secret extra bookcase or library where everything got kept, so there's no danger there. But hey, Biblio, I gotta say, you're starting to get a little bit curious now, as Saul's like, I'm even more perplexed about Biblio than I was before.
Don't pay attention to me.
Yeah. Hoot. No, you aren't. Hoot.
I'm nobody. I'm just a giant owl who likes books. Hoot.
Coming from the sky is a boat. It lands, and gay, Nick, you know what it's been? It's been like 2 weeks since Summers was a gigantic asshole, so he's like, hey, everybody, it's Summers.
I got another ship.
Or should I say Super Summers? I'm here to capture the children again. And he's out there as well now. We have a moment where Chopper reveals that he has managed to sew Gert's fingers back on, because, not that much time has passed and the cut was pretty clean. So, they'll be okay, basically. He's like, we can kind of patch everybody up. There's a scene with Roto and Gerd, but it's one of those things that I'm like, is this going to be relevant? Should I care that you guys have like interconnected like relationships within the Giants Pirates crew? I don't 100% know. Maybe that'll matter in One Piece too. Stenson, Goldberg, is carrying Zoro at this point. Thankfully, because if Zoro was on his own, he would not make it anywhere.
He would get lost, yes.
Yeah. So Zoro says, like, no worries. Our captain is a friend's country is my country kind of guy. And he thinks about this interaction he had with Emu. He's like, that black flame, though, it was transforming into steel bullets and bombs. And he clearly helped the Knights of God, who are already a power. So we've got to deal with them. Like, we've got to deal with these people, or it's going to get out of hand soon. We see that Killingham is connecting with Summers over radio. They're kind of trying to coordinate kidnapping the kids and wrapping things up. But there is a moment where they reveal, like, oh, there is one sleep near, though, that I'm I maybe let out, killing him, accidentally let what he's afraid of get out. So there's a little bit of a concern about that, as the Western Village now is trapped in this tremendous downpour. And it is revealed that in the lower world, there's a monster called the Rain God that dumps water on the top of your head. And it is after the people of D and Nika, it was the most common boogeyman they warned us about. The Rain God Zaza. Oh, we see a shot of, this Zaza, a multi-armed woman with like a long hat and this, downpouring rain. And we consider...
Cool design.
It is. It's a very cool design, and it also is very interesting to think about, considering we know that the kind of ticking clock of the One Piece world is that it's supposedly going to flood, and all of the celestial dragons wear these big, stupid, like diving suit bubbles. So, something interesting going on there. So we see killing him in Summers. They're like, "All right, take him away. We're gonna get going. This is gonna go great." And Zoro passes by Sanji and just shouts out to him, "Hey, get the job done right." As Sanji exclaims, "Same to you." And the two of them head off to face their respective Holy Knight.
Yep, definitely setting up the final three fights, it seems as though, in this. Although we don't know what Gunko is going to be up to.
There is talk in this chapter that's like, well, she must be dead. But that would be a wild thing. That would be a wild thing to do, to set up all this connection with Brooke.
Wasn't there a thing that she was connected to Brooke? So like, yeah, she's dead now.
Yeah, well, she's dead.
It's not
so,
important.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I feel like my favorite moment in this chapter is just the moment where Lilith says, "I'm your guardian now." And it's like, oh yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense because of the connection between her whole collective and with Kuma, and she's like the only one left. So yeah. I guess that it would be how she would see herself. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's good stuff there. I also like Sanji's moment of being like, they're still trying to kidnap these kids, and I can't let everything be for nothing. It's very, very cool, and I'm excited to see Zoro kill Summers. I think it's going to be great. And you know what?
Please.
Maybe we can end the whole Zoro only fights people of color joke. Like we can, finally he's just taking out a privileged white guy.
Oh right.
In before the color spread gives Summers like a really dark tan. Like, no.
It's going to turn out that with his glasses, he technically qualifies as having like a physical disability and stuff. Oh, damn it, Zoro. Come on, man.
They reveal his full name. It's Summers Gomez. I'm like, damn it.
Oh, man. All right, guys. That is going to do it for Weekly Manga Recap. Quinn, could you tell me what your favorite chapter this week was?
Yeah, my favorite chapter, I think, was... Ooh, that's close, actually. I was going to just...
good chapters this week.
I was going to instantaneously say One Piece, but then I was like, Akane-banashi was really good.
Really good.
I liked Kiyoshi a lot. I think I am still going to go with One Piece just because this is when I think One Piece is about to move into a very exciting direction for me. I love it when we start getting people paired off into one-on-one fights, and I really want to see some cool action to kind of wrap things up here. So I'm gonna go with One Piece as my chapter of the week.
I think that I am going to go with Kiyoshi.
Okay.
It was just a really cool chapter with some cool action that has a very exciting cliffhanger to end on. There's a lot of chapters that I am really looking forward to seeing next, though. So good stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like a real turnaround from last week where we had quite a few chapters where it was like, we're just kind of like waiting for the next thing to happen. And I was like, no, action is really escalating in a lot of things right now.
Yeah. I am a little torn on who to pick for my character of the week. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to let you go first as I think this through.
Oh, great. No pressure on me. I am...
I'm so sorry. I failed you.
I think that I am going to actually go with Mime in Someone Hertz. I thought that it was just a nice interaction that he had. It was a nice chance to have... Because we're so used to seeing Mime just kind of like being the patient person with Mizuo, and to also not see him like get to accomplish much. And it felt like there was a nice moment of, without making him seem like he was making this big like proclamation of war, him just establishing like, hey, this is like the level of which like this is important to me, and I'm not going to let you make me feel bad about that.
Yeah.
It was just a nice moment of boldness from him.
I think I'm going to give mine to Akane from Akane-banashi. I know it maybe isn't like it is explicitly her. It's her story going on that's really being captivating. So I think I'm going to go there. And also just because that's like the chapter that really made me be like, oh, I gotta know, what is Akane's thoughts on all this going to be? Like, what does she see as death,
I don't think that I would question anyone who said the god of death in this chapter is their character of the week.
Yeah. Unfortunately, did not win character of the week for the audience, but Spy Family won chapter of the week, and then Sanji and Lloyd from Spy Family tied for character of the week.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That is it for this week of Weekly Manga Recap. As we continue along back on Wednesdays, we will be back again next Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah.
I'll have to check on that.
Okay.
It's Nicole's birthday next week.
Oh,
so,
yeah, we can definitely move it if need be.
We'll see what our plans are, and I'll let you know. I'll try and find that out as soon as possible so that nobody gets caught off guard by that. But in any case, we will let you guys know if you are part of our Discord server, or follow us on social media. On BlueSky, we are RoloT, Nick F Time, and Weekly Manga Recap. Also, be sure to follow the WMR Votes BlueSky account so that you know when the polls go up and you can vote for your favorite character and your favorite series of the week. Those are maintained by Ninja X3i, who helps us out with all sorts of stuff. Doing the bookkeeping that we would forget to do and then just forget stuff whole cloth. Thank you for all of that to kind of help us stay on top of things, Ninja.
Yes, absolutely.
We are on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com. If you want to listen to all the past audio episodes, there are going to be more episodes available on twitch.tv/RoloT whenever we do the live recording, which is usually 7:30 to 8 Eastern time. But if you join the Discord server, which will be linked wherever this is posted to, you can follow along with all that news. We are also available through iTunes and Spotify and all your favorite podcast feed type places. And we have video versions that get uploaded to youtube.com/weekly manga recap. youtube.com/weekly manga recap has an opening sequence at the beginning of each episode, animated and scored by Milo Jack Stillitz and Bree Cheddar. So thank you guys for that, for helping to make the presentation what it is. And if you want even more Weekly Manga Recap content, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/weekly manga recap, if you want to help financially support the show and get some bonus episodes on top of it.
Yep. All right. That's going to do it for Weekly Manga Recap this week. Hope everybody had a great time. And I think that's going to do it this week. We had a long episode, but we got to say goodbye to Black Clover. We got to talk about some high impact chapters. It was a good time. No one's longing for manga anymore.
Yeah. When's the next chapter come out?
Oh God, I wish it was now.
Oh man.